Welcome to the NAMB Podcast, where we bring you the voices that drive the mortgage industry. Join dynamic hosts Ginger Bell and Matt Shields as they dive into bold conversations with top experts, industry leaders, and change makers from across the country. From insider insights to game-changing trends, this is your front row seat to what's happening right now in the world of home finance.
Well, hi there. Welcome to another episode of the NAMB Podcast. My name is Ginger Bell, and I have my co-host extraordinaire with me, Matt Shields. How are you today, Matt?
Ginger, I'm doing fantastic. It's good to see you as always, and I'm so excited to have our guest on today. It's somebody who I love very much.
Absolutely. So let's introduce our government affairs chair and our incoming NAMB president. So our president-elect, Mr. Lauren Patterson. Lauren, we're excited to have you on our show today.
Oh, hey, Ginger. Hey, Matt. It's always so much fun being on here with you guys. What's this, our sixth or seventh one that we've done in total so far?
I know you might be our most recurring guest. So that's very good. Yeah.
I will take that. Absolutely.
Well, and the topics are so important, and that's why we have you back, because your knowledge, your depth of knowledge, your passion, and your excitement about everything that's going on really just leans into making it a very great conversation. So thank you for joining us. We always look forward to it.
Oh, you were so kind, and it's always my pleasure. So happy to.
Good deal. So let's dive in there. We're just kind of talking about the history of NAMB, and especially in the advocacy side. And you have been involved in that. I know advocacy is a huge passion for you, and it's kind of what got you started with NAMB, right?
Actually is, yeah. That was the one thing that really drew me to the association. I mean, there were other parts of it, but that was the one as I started looking into it and becoming more involved, that was where my passion really fell into. That was the piece that I got excited about. The legislation part of it, the advocacy piece, I think it's something that we as practitioners in the industry don't pay enough attention to, if I put my fellow hat on, because it's not something that sounds really exciting, right? It sort of sounds like watching paint dry, but it's something that is it's pivotal to what we do, right? It really is a foundational part of the industry. And so my view on it has always been that I have to be willing to get involved in the legislative side of it, and the regulation piece of it, in the guideline, in the things that shape what we do and how we do them. Because if we don't do that, things can get off the rails very quickly, right? Because people that are making the legislation and making laws, they have the very best intentions without question, okay? Right. But they're also not practicing it on a daily basis. So there's some things that if you're not careful, you end up with what we call unintended consequences.
Yeah.
And that's when it becomes so important, because when we're talking to elected officials, when we're talking to regulators know the industry really well, obviously, but it's a little bit different than when you're actually boots on the ground and you're facing the consumer and you're on the front lines. And that's what they look to us for, that perspective for, is tell us about your expertise. Tell us about what's going on. Tell us what you're seeing. And we hear that time and time again when we're in DC. They'll say, we really enjoy speaking with you folks, and you're the ones that we want to be talking to, because you're not a hired gun. You are actually practicing this daily. And that's where we go into those conversations. And so that becomes very invigorating, and it also becomes very satisfying.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Matt, because I know you started out, and that's really what drew you in initially too, right?
Absolutely. And it was just from talking to Mike Farrell about all the great stuff NAMB was doing, that really opened my eyes, because I didn't know any of that was going on behind the scenes. And then, having Mike in my life for a while, having him as a friend, he was always just kind of in my ear, hey, NAMB's doing this, NAMB's doing this. And I thought it was kind of too good to be true. Like, there's a group of people who all do the same job across the country, who are all competitors technically, but they're all banding together for the greater good of our industry to keep moving it along. I thought it was kind of too good to be true. And then once you get involved, it's like, no, everybody cares about each other. They care about our industry, and they're doing everything they can to make it easier for the broker, for the originator. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a really beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. And we just had, Joe Falk and A.W. Pickle were just on this week, and you're obviously on our upcoming And one of the things Joe talked about was really back in 1973, just what started as far as licensing. But you've been involved in just kind of take us back as far as some of the things that you've seen as far as what NAMB has made a contribution to in changes in our industry.
Oh, absolutely. And that was the part that really drew me to it initially. And it was really more out of curiosity, right? Like, okay, what did they do? And then as I got into it and I started looking at what they had done over time, because it's been over 50 years that this association has
Yeah.
existed, right? And then I was like, oh, I remember this point in time. And I remember when this happened in the industry. And I remember when this legislation happened. And I remember, and I remember. And then going down through this and seeing all of the things that NAM had done, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Starting in 70,
RESPA, Safe Act, so many things.
RESPA, Safe Act, Grand Breach, the Bliley Act, or
Yeah.
GLBA as we refer
Forgot
to
about
it,
that
right?
one. Yeah.
Federal, Safe Act. Okay, we were instrumental in that one as well. Dodd-Frank and LO Comp testifying in front of Congress on that. Joe Falk was very instrumental on that piece, and that was something that he was very passionate about. You go into TRID implementation. Okay, we were at the table for that. We were giving them perspectives. We were giving them technical guidance that we've been asked for. You've got, what was it, 2155, which is the transitional MLO licensing piece. Remember when that didn't exist?
Yeah.
And NAM was very instrumental in that and having that discussion so that you could transition your license from one entity over to another one without having to sit on the sidelines, because that was a huge piece for people.
Yeah.
If you
It
remember
used to
coming
be
from,
that way, where it's like,
yes,
yeah, you were gonna, it was what, a 6-month time frame.
you could have delays if you're going from a depository right over onto the IMB side or the broker side. And now that became much more seamless. You had the VA loan reforms, but all the way back in 2019 and 2020. Then we had the Homebuyer Privacy or Protection Act, which was the trigger leads bill, which we'd worked on that one for 8 years from the time that we first introduced it
Yeah.
until it finally got across the finish line.
Just this year.
And yes, right. It just went into law this year and went into effect. And then the Road to Housing Act, which just passed. Okay. We were also instrumental in discussions all the way through that one as well, and being asked to go up to DC and meet with Congress, meet with subcommittees, meet with housing groups. And so that's really been, if you look back at it, there truly has been a 50-year history of this association being active in the legislative side and the advocacy side in DC. And that was the piece that I thought, okay, that I want to get my hands into that, right? Because I want to be able to do something that has a difference and will mean something not just today, but next year, next week, and 10 years from now. And that was the part that excited me personally.
When you think about, the what ifs, what if we didn't have the Lauren Pattersons and the Joe Falk and the A.W. Pickles and the Mike Farrells and the Kimber Whites and, the Valerie Saunders, the people that are passionate about the industry to go and to do the lobbying and to meet with, whether it's on a state level or on a federal level. What would happen if we didn't have that?
If we didn't have mortgage professionals getting involved on state level and the federal level, you would have legislation, you'd have regulations there that, not intending to do so, had dire consequences that went with them. Okay. You look at what's happening out there right now. There's legislation in DC with the VA side of the world, right? And wanting to increase the funding fee on IRRRLs. It hasn't passed yet, but we're having active conversations with groups in DC and with our elected officials, because we're saying, hey, wait a second, wait. We understand why we want to do this. We understand why you need to do this, and we understand some of the benefits to doing this. But please, let's be aware of what can be the unintended consequences of doing this as well, right? And here's what that works out to in terms of actual dollars and cents to the veteran. And here's what these things are that are going to happen or could happen as a result of this. Think about it in terms of our daily lives. For you and I, it's impossible for us to be the subject matter expert on everything that's out there. Now imagine if you're having to cast votes and write legislation on all of this, right? You want to be able to talk to groups and people that actually know it, that are practicing it on a daily basis, so you can become as informed and educated as you possibly can to make the very best decision. And the people that we've had the privilege of meeting with and talking to in DC, I believe, truly have in their hearts the desire to do the very best thing that they can do and to make things the very best that they can. We want to be there as that industry voice that says, love the idea. This is awesome. What about this? Right? Have we considered this? And sometimes the answer that we get from them is yes, we have. Okay. And sometimes we don't get the answers that we want to get, but we go,
Yeah.
okay, well, thank you for telling us. And at least there's an open dialogue. The important thing, I believe, is to have that invitation to the seat at the table, right?
Mhm.
To be included in those conversations, to have the opportunity to provide the perspective. And that's something that we value greatly. And it's also something that we have a great deal of respect for. And we treat very, 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 very with kid gloves, right? Because that's something that not everybody gets.
Right.
And it takes a lot to earn that as well. And once you have it, you certainly don't want to see it go by the wayside.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Lauren, I got a question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I'll let you,
no,
so
go
I'll let
ahead.
you, I was going to hop into a question. I'll let you finish your thought before I dive in.
Oh, well, I was going to say, Kimber White, our president, just this week was invited to a roundtable in Florida with Representative Cleaver. Okay. Now, Representative Cleaver is on the House Financial Services Committee. He's actually a ranking member. And so this roundtable was about how they're going to implement and things to be aware of or be cautious of or watch out for with the 21st Century Act that just passed. Okay. These are important things and discussions that are happening because once the legislation gets passed, you still have the implementation phase of it, right? And that's not always just a seamless, oh, it goes off without a hitch. There can be things that you have to watch out for. And the wonderful part is that our legislators and our politicians are actively asking for input, right? They're not resting on their laurels. They're going out and they're saying, okay, tell me more. Here's what we're thinking. Here's what we want to do with this now. Here's the guardrails that are there. Anything that we should be aware of, anything that we should be looking at. We had meetings with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac over the last several months on the new condo and the HOA guideline changes. Okay. Those were amazing. We held a webinar with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Was it last week or the week before?
Yes, last week.
We had 1,500 plus mortgage professionals join us for that.
Wow.
Right. Wow. The ability and the opportunity to be able to speak directly with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and the two individuals at each of those agencies who are responsible for the condo side of the business, that's huge, right? Having access to that and being able to hear from them and have them be willing to speak to us and to talk to our members and to talk to loan officers and say, yeah, well, you may not love this. Here's the reason why. And here's what we have to do. And this is the rationale behind it. So many times, I think in our industry, we get to where we hear a guideline or we hear a piece of legislation, and many times you don't get the why behind it. It's like an underwriting guideline when you're talking to a client, right? You can tell them this is what I need, but if we don't give them the why behind it, they look at you like, well, why do I need this? Why do you keep coming back to me? Once we know the why behind it, it makes the whole dynamic and the whole landscape make a little bit more sense and sometimes a lot easier to digest and swallow.
Yep.
Well, Lauren, I want to hop in on one for you. You've spent decades in the industry and you've seen it from almost every angle. As you prepare to lead NAMB, what does this moment mean to you personally?
It's a huge responsibility and it is a huge privilege and something that I am absolutely so grateful for, right? If I look back at my career, Matt, I didn't ever think that this would be a role that I would have the opportunity and to sit in that seat. And I am just humbled beyond belief, right? I mean, this is just something. I look at the leaders of the association, and I look at the leaders of our industry that have come before me, and I'm just, it's so humbling. Like I'm really, I don't have words for it. I'm truly at a loss for words because it's just something that I think I'm still in a little bit of a state of awe, right? Holy smokes, this is really happening. And at the same time, there's an excitement that goes with it because it's a passion that we have for it. And that's where when I get to work alongside great people like yourself and Ginger and Kimber and Mike and Valerie, Jim Neighbors, like the list just goes on. AW, Joe Falk. I mean, I can go on and on and on for all these wonderful people. Barry Habib, the leaders at Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, like everywhere, HUD. It's just, I never would have imagined that my career would have taken me in this direction and giving me these opportunities to contribute to the industry and to contribute to the legacy of the profession. And that's a pretty humbling thing when you think about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What a privilege to lead a group, but then also for you to be nominated by your peers, selected by your peers, and then voted on by your peers. So all these people who you have respect for, clear mutual respect back, and they love you and they want you to be that next leader. So what an amazing thing, especially when it's something just selected by your peers and your, people in your industry. Just think it's such a cool thing, and you're going to do such a great job leading us once you go into the president role.
You're too kind. Thank you for those words. I'm blushing right now. I don't know if you can see it, but it's sure
a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
It shows a little on the camera.
I really am. And I'm so excited because the things that are being worked on, and that everybody will start to see over these next couple of months, and especially at national, are really cool, right? The work that's gone into it, some of the things that Mike Farrell, who's the incoming president this year, is putting into place and wants to do and will be doing, working alongside him as his right hand, I'm super excited about. Having been the GA chair for several years and being asked to chair it again is just a privilege beyond belief. Like I look at what's happened in my exposure and my experience within NAMB, Matt, and I'd have to pinch myself some days because there really are some amazing things that have happened and things that I feel so honored and so humbled and so privileged to participate in. The halls in DC, some of the meetings that I've been invited into, some of the meetings that I've been able to have, perspective that I've been able to witness and hear, things that we've been asked to give input on, politicians and elected officials that I've had the opportunity to sit down and have one-on-ones with. Never would have thought ever in my career that this would be something that I would actually have an opportunity to do. And I actually enjoy doing it. That's the crazy part.
And it comes through that you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I want to kind of have you talk about some of the things that are that are on your radar right now for GA. But before I do that, for those who are say, hey, that, glad to be involved with NAMB, don't have the time for volunteering, how can they help? Because I know there's additional things like the NAMB Pack, for example, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the NAMB Pack, and that's, you're right. So the things that we're doing in DC and all the work that we do, and not just in DC, but a lot of it, we're traveling across the country for certain meetings that are happening, right? It's not always just in DC.
Right.
It takes money to do that.
Right.
And I've never met a more frugal, cost-conscious, budget-minded group of people. I really have, it's, the amount of time that people put into things without the desire for any remuneration or compensation, it really does become a love for people. But the NAMB Pack exists, and you can go and you can donate there, and all sorts of dollar denominations. It's on the website. If you go there, you'll see it. It's you can do $25, you can do $100. A lot of times people think, oh, I have to be a big donor.
Yeah,
it's not that way, right? Yep. It's just every little bit helps, and advocacy does come at a cost, right?
Right.
It's not free, but we have to keep doing this because, again, if you didn't think of what would have happened when Dodd-Frank had gone through, right? If trade groups and industry groups were not at the table and it was simply legislators and regulators writing rules, our industry would not look at all the way that it does today, right? How LOs work today, how brokers work today, how people are compensated, the protections that are in place for consumers, none of that would have been there without people getting involved in this, right? And so you're really looking at what can we do to help the consumers that we serve and to also protect the profession for the professionals that practice it.
Yeah.
And it's that double-edged sword that we do, I think, a wonderful job with, because one doesn't take precedence over the other. Does this create a win-win for both sides? And when it does, then that's something that we move forward on very quickly and very steadfastly, right? And with a lot of passion and conviction as well.
Yeah. And we have actually a great opportunity to contribute to NAMB Pack. and get into a drawing. So for
Yes.
$25 per entry, that goes until September 1st, 2026. Then you can enter for a chance to win. I think it's 3 night stay at Caesars,
Yeah.
then the conference registration, and also the 8-hour NMLS. So, those are kind of things. It's like an opportunity to be able to do that and get involved as well, right?
Well, absolutely. So it becomes, again, it's a two-pronged approach for me or for you as a mortgage loan originator or as a loan officer, because for $25, okay, people are spending more than that on their lattes every week, right?
Oh, yeah.
I do it.
Maybe in a day.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. But that's my coffee budget for the week.
Yeah.
But I can take my $25. I can go in a drawing for free accommodations at National, okay, at Caesar's Palace. And that, let's say, round about $300 a night, $350 a night, something for a room
Maybe
there.
more than that. I don't know. Yeah.
More than that. Yeah, I don't even know what the rack rates are right now. So you're looking at an actual value of well over $1,000 for $25 in. Not a bad way to spend your money, but it also, because it goes to something bigger and better and greater, right? And it really does help. Again, every little bit helps in what we do. Legislation that's out there, the House bill for veterans 9237, that's one that the number of trips that we made back to DC, flying in for meetings, coming back out, my frequent flyer miles work on some things, but it still costs to get there.
Yeah.
There's a bill that was just introduced. This is something to watch and be aware of. It's called HR 10028. It's the MOVE Act is what it's called. Now, it was just introduced at the beginning of this month. It hasn't moved anywhere yet. No
So
pun
the MOVE
intended.
Act is not moving.
No pun
The
intended. Well,
Congress is out though right now.
they're out. They're out.
Yeah.
But what this bill proposes to do is to have Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac securitize portable mortgages. Okay. Yes. So lots of interesting stuff that goes with that. So the general concept of that would be the loan that you have today.
Mhm.
If you wanted to go move and buy a different house, either make it bigger or make it smaller, you could take your underlying loan that you have, take it over and move it to the new house. And if there was a dollar differential there, then you would either have to pay for that in cash, or you would have to finance it with another mortgage. So then you would have a blended rate mortgage.
Wow.
Okay? Yeah. In practical terms, for me as a consumer, woo, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Some countries around the globe do this already. Okay. But if you go into the securitization piece of this, if you go into the covenants that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have, if you look at the MBS market, if you look at the bond market, if you look at the investors, the financial markets, that's a completely different animal than simply saying you get to make your mortgage move around. Because one of the things, those loans have already been put into pools, those pools have already been securitized and they've been delivered. As a bond investor, as an MBS investor, they're looking at what average prepayment penalty speeds are, okay, on loans, and that's how they're basing a lot of the decisions on what they want to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
Most people aren't looking to go park their money for 30 years in a loan that's never going to pay off. So then you look at it and say, okay, what happens to the pricing structure of these different coupons, right? So there's so many things that would go into making this a reality. It would make it so that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, if it passed, would have to do this within 180 days of it passing. Okay. Now, it doesn't apply to FHA, does not apply to VA, and does not apply to USDA. So it's Fannie Freddie only. But think about the spaghetti bowl of issues, if you will, right? In trying to get something like that across the line and all the different things that would have to be considered. So that was one that just came up last week, 10 days ago, a week and a half ago, is when it first hit my radar screen, because I got an alert saying this bill had just been introduced. It got referred to House Financial Services. So it's, again, nothing has happened on it yet, but it's on my radar screen because it's something that we do have to watch and we do have to be, pay attention to. There's also,
and maybe get involved in too. So those are things,
yes,
we have alerts that go out and so we may call for, hey, you need to call your local congressman or your senator and voice, what is going to have those adverse, effects of something. So it's not just on Lauren's radar. It's a matter of, hey, this is on Lauren's radar. Now we're making it on bigger radar. And now we're going to let you know you need to take action on this. You can make a difference. You can get involved.
Yep. You're absolutely right. The call to action that we just did a couple of weeks ago on the VA bill, on the one that where they want to raise the funding fee. The response and the support that we had to that call to action was unbelievable.
Nice.
Okay. Thousands and thousands and thousands of originators and consumers and people, as I gave it, I talked to some of my VA clients and said, hey, this is what's being presented and this is what might happen.
Yep.
Well, you can imagine as a veteran, when you find out that your funding fee on your IRL that you might want to do just went up to a lot, right?
Yeah.
The increase on that was very, very, very significant versus the half a point that it currently is. Yes. Yeah. And so to see that many people submit the call to action and reach out to their congressman and their senator and say, hey, please rethink this. This is going to hurt me. It's important that we get that out there. And there will be more of those, Ginger, you're right, that do go out without question.
Yep.
Because that's where they want to hear from us. They want to hear from their constituents, right? And that actually brings up another really interesting point, which is with them being on recess right now and being back in district, okay?
Yeah.
This is an election year.
Yes.
Okay?
An important election year.
A very important election year. When you look at the calendar in Washington, D.C., when they come back in the end of this month and the middle of September, they're only there for a short time piece again, and then they're gone again. And then they're back again. And now elections are under full, like you're really moving to election speed at that point, right? They're already doing that at this point now. But if you look at the legislative calendar, it's very, very, very tight between now and the end of the year. And we're in August, right? With them being home, it's a wonderful opportunity to reach out to your senators and your congressmen and get with their local chiefs of staff or heads of staff or them. Because what you typically will find as well, the conversations are much more relaxed and they're much more willing to have conversations with you while they're home than when they're in DC, because their schedules when they're in DC are crazy, right? The demands that are being put on them when they're in DC, when they're in the House and when they're in the Senate, and with everything they have to juggle, they have a full plate. So getting to see them, take advantage of it while they're home.
Absolutely. And so, Lauren, we always love to do something towards the end of the podcast, and it's our lightning round. So I'm going to rattle off some questions for you. And if you don't mind, just first thing that pops into your head, I got 4 questions for you. All right. What's one word that describes the mortgage broker community?
Tenacious.
Love that.
Love it.
Biggest opportunity for mortgage brokers right now?
Reaching out to your sphere of influence, your customers and your referral partners, and educating them on all of the recent changes that have happened. Okay, HOA changes, condo fees, all of that, even HOAs. Okay, I was just on this one. I just got a call the other night. It was an HOA board meeting. Somebody who was on the board knows what I do. They called me because they had questions about Fannie Freddie FHFA's new rollout on condos. Reach out to your HOAs as well, because a lot of the HOAs aren't going to be up to speed on the things that they need to be up to speed with on this new change from FHFA.
That's a great tip. And absolutely educating, showing value, bringing value, letting everybody know what the changes are in the industry, being the real expert,
Yeah.
What's one thing every NAMB member should do this year?
Contribute to PAC.
Love it. I had a feeling that one was coming. I had a feeling. All right. And then finish this sentence for me. The future of the mortgage broker is what?
Unlimited.
That's a good one.
I love it.
There's so many opportunities out there right now. The limit that a mortgage broker and a small independent originator has is only the limitations that they're going to put on themselves. Okay. There's so many different avenues that you can go to expand your business, to educate, to teach people, to be that subject matter expert, right? Who takes the time, who gets to help people. Again, HOAs, realtor partners. I mean, there's so many different places that you can go with it. And there's so much value that you can bring to it. And some of the tools that are coming and that a lot of people will see at NAMB National will just amplify that, right? It's going to make it so much easier, and it's going to make it that it's all right there for you in one spot. and the value and the tools that this is going to bring and the efficiencies, Matt, that this is going to bring to LOs is unbelievable. It really is. I know that sounds like I'm hyping it to be a lot. This new platform is really, really cool.
I can't wait to see it. And just one last thing for you, Lauren. When your time as NAMB president is over, what do you hope mortgage brokers will say about the impact you made? Not just on NAMB, but on the broker community as a whole.
Oh boy.
That was a loaded one. That was a loaded question.
That he followed his guiding principles and did what's right, and made the industry a better place today than it was when he came in.
I love it. And knowing who you are as a person, you're going to.
Yeah. And you already do. I mean, I know you already do.
Yeah.
And we always look forward to our conversations. And, hey, thank you for fighting the fight, for keeping us informed, and for all that you do. We certainly appreciate it. And I know our listeners do as well.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And doing this with you guys and doing it with everybody else that serves on NAMB and all the committees, right? It's just, I feel so lucky every single day that I'm like a kid in a candy shop. Like really am. I know that sounds silly, but I'm like, okay, what are we doing today? One thing that I should mention is at NAMB National, Matt, is the golf scramble that we're having on Friday, which will be really fun. It's a golf scramble. We'll be doing foursomes. There'll be some really cool prizes. It's a great way to get out. Every year we've had our golf tournament there in Vegas. The feedback has been phenomenal. Great time, great day. Sponsorships are coming in. Foursomes are getting signed up. There'll be some great prizes. Be a great way to kick off the NAMB National this year. And the lineup that we have for National after that kicks off on Friday is unreal. This NAMB National this year will be bigger and better than it was last year.
Yeah. And every year just keeps getting that way.
Yeah.
It does, right? Yeah.
And the weather's good in Vegas in October. So October 16th through the 19th. So make sure and get there. And the scramble is on Friday, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And all of that's on the website as well. So just go to namb.org and you can click through there and you'll find everything there.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Lauren, again, thank you. Matt, thank you. As always, I love co-hosting these with you. And, speaking of NAMB National, we're actually going to have a podcast booth at NAMB National.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. That'll be fun too.
I can't wait.
So we'll get you in there as well. So you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, if you're not a NAMB member, become a NAMB member and find out about PAC, how to get involved. And of course, if there's anything that we can do for you to be able to help you understand some of the things that NAMB does, then by all means, reach out to us. You can find our information at namb.org. So thanks, guys. Make sure and subscribe, and follow us. And you can find the next episode every week at thenambpodcast.com.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to the NAMB Podcast, brought to you by the National Association of Mortgage Brokers. For more episodes, resources, and guest interviews, visit nambpodcast.com. Don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you soon.